Hey, is your deck starting to show its age? Are some of your boards rotting and you just need some cosmetic fixes? Or are those just indicators of something more serious, like joists that are starting to rot? Well, that's what I found out here. I thought I might just have to replace a few boards. But once I got a good look at the framing, I decided I needed to rebuild the whole thing. So stick around. I'm going to show you how I tore down the old deck, rebuilt it using the deck foot anchor, and I'm going to show you some really cool framing tricks too. Not only that, you'll see how I made sure the joists on this deck are protected for a long, long time using a product I like called G-Tape. So watch and learn as I get my hands dirty and rebuild this beautiful deck.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey folks, I'm in the backyard here. We're looking at an old deck that needs a little tender love and care. This deck is 14 years old. It was never built with joist tape, so I want to show you what happens when you don't use joist tape. You can actually probably extend the life of your joists probably twice as long. Like I said, this deck is 13, 14 years old. Probably could have gone 20, 25 years. So we're going to tear this deck down. We're going to rebuild it. We're going to rebuild it with joist tape to protect it. Then we're going to reset it on some new footing systems, a helical pile system called the Ledger deck foot anchor. Once it's all redecked, we're going to rebuild a beautiful pergola here using the TOPS structural connector system and the pergola system, which is cool. Pergola are a joist system that allow you to change the angle of the joist depending upon where the sun is in the course of the day. So let's get started. Let me show you what a joist looks like when it gets rotted. Here's an example. We can see over here, it's basically really soft. You can see what's happened here. It's just completely gone. And we see this all along here. We also see it even between the joists. Now, this would have been protected had there been some joist tape on here. There's other parts here that are fine. There's been some good airflow here, but one of the key problems here is that even the tops of these support posts, you can see mold is growing on them. They should have been covered with G-tape as well. So we're gonna completely rebuild this deck, and we're gonna make sure that that never happens. And it's such an inexpensive product to use. I like G-tape. Doesn't have to be G-tape. The reason I like G-tape is because it's easy to tear. It can handle extreme temperatures, and it actually kind of molds into the wood. There's some kind of an adhesive they use that works very well. Fantastic little product. There are other products. I don't want to tell you that this is the only one to use. That's what I like. And so we're going to start ripping this down. Get the job on the road here. We see the rod over here with some blocking. Hey, here's a tip of the day for some of you young carpenters coming up. If you want to keep the fascia board of your deck looking good and not having drip stains, water stains on it, I like to put a little groove on the overhanging deck board, just a little kerf with my circular saw, maybe ½ inch in. What happens is the water collects right where this kerf is and it drops straight down. Rather than hugging, you'll notice that wood kind of has some water has viscosity to it, hugs on the wood and then it dribbles down. You can get all kinds of stain marks on your fascia. It looks awful over time. But this deck, being, 14 years old now, if I'm looking at this fascia, it looks brand new, like the day it was built. So, little tip for you when you're building your deck, just a cosmetic enhancement, and consider that on your next build. Compliance. When I first developed this product for deck foot anchor, I hadn't yet come up with the concept of an integral drive head on the threaded rod, and so it was a clunkier system. This has been around for 14 years. I mean, look, it's still, the quality of the galvanization, it's performed very well. But I want to show you how it works. This one screws on to a nut that was welded on the underside. And the drive feature, because we didn't have a hex head, was 2 locking nuts. But 2 locking nuts under vibration is never very good. It always ends up loosening. The deck foot anchor, the deck foot anchor now is a really robust product. It's really gone through a lot of evolution and a lot of improvements. So that's just a little history lesson for you. So what we've done here now is we've prepared all the soil. We've got it down to the mineral soil, and we've marked the exact locations of the footings. And we're going to go now around and just install the auger. This is a 48-inch auger with a 5-inch blade, as I mentioned. And this is the load fin, compression load fin. It's going to stabilize the auger in the upper portion of the soil, and all the weight's going to be borne by this fin way down here. We know from testing in clay that we're getting up to maximum loads of 5,000 pounds in clay with this particular auger. That is a very high load. So we're being very conservative here, having 9 tributary areas, 9 footings. Even if we were to assume this might only hold 3,000 pounds, imagine 9 times 3,000, 27,000 pounds for a 12 by 15 foot deck. It's just overkill, but we're going to do it anyway. And so now that we've done that, we're just going to go ahead and start installing all the augers, show you how that works. Once I've got the auger down to the right depth, I've hit it with a bit of a sledgehammer to maybe knock it in a 1/4 inch or so to make sure that it's fully seated, that the blade is fully seated. Now I'm taking this compression load fin, and you'll notice it's not really symmetrical, it's an asymmetric design. So you got to keep in mind, and the reason is because this also allows, the width of this permits a larger 6x6 post to move and still have, contact points to distribute load down this fin. So I know the beam is running this way, so I'm gonna set this fin like so that when I run the beam, and if I'm off, which surely I'll be a little bit off on all 3, I can't guarantee perfection every time, I've got the ability to go 2 inches. So I got a very high probability that I'm going to catch that beam. So that's what we're doing here. And I'm going to grab the sledgehammer and just drop this down. Now, as I start to see the drive head come through, I want to make sure that it's perfectly centered. So I'm just going to carefully strike it in a bit of a circular motion. Simple as that. Get that thing to fully seat. You can feel it. There we go. Next thing is we're going to put on the nuts and lock it in place. Just going to line that up. Put my socket on. You could use a wrench if you want to, too. There's no problem with that, but I like the socket and the impact wrench. Okay, I went until it stopped because I know that it's pulling it down and it's fully seating. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a washer here that's welded to the fixture, and that has to seat on the top shoulder of this auger. And when you feel that, it'll resonate and you'll know that you've seated it properly. So now this is ready for a post saddle. What we would do is, depending upon the height of these nuts, we're going to put some washers on there so that the washers come relatively close to the contact surface of this channel underneath. And then we lock it from top with another washer and another nut. and we're ready to go for construction.